the genius 90-year-old system to keep fire burning at 80 degrees N, how one elder's forgotten knowledge of thermodynamic insulation, permafrost engineering, and radiant heat containment solved the single most lethal problem ever faced by Ice Age humanity, and why the ancient combustion architecture he perfected over 9 decades of survival in the frozen tundra represents the most sophisticated low-technology heat retention system ever devised by the human mind, a system so structurally sound and thermally efficient that modern engineers have spent decades attempting to replicate its core principles in Arctic research stations, military cold weather shelters, and deep winter survival protocols used by Special Forces operatives training in sub-zero environments across Alaska, northern Canada, and Siberia, a system built not from modern materials or industrial compounds, but from rendered mammoth fat, compressed bone ash, permafrost-packed earth, and the kind of empirical thermal intelligence that can only be earned through a lifetime of near-death encounters with the coldest climate ever endured by a human being on the surface of this planet, a climate where exposed skin loses structural integrity within 40 seconds, where inhaled air drops core body temperature below functional threshold in under 3 minutes, where a fire that dies at midnight means a body that does not wake at dawn, and where the difference between a flame that survives the night and one that collapses under wind chill pressures, exceeding -80 degrees Fahrenheit, is not luck, not instinct, not accident, but pure geometric and thermodynamic genius of the highest order, the kind of genius that this one remarkable elder carried silently in his weathered hands, in his bone-carved fire tools, in the precise angular geometry of his windbreak construction, in the caloric density calculations he performed intuitively every single evening before placing the first ember into the carefully engineered combustion chamber. He had refined and perfected over 9 unbroken decades of Ice Age survival in temperatures that would disable every modern heating system known to contemporary science, a man whose entire existence was a living laboratory of cold weather engineering, whose every scar was a peer-reviewed data point written directly onto his skin by the merciless thermodynamic forces of the Pleistocene atmosphere, whose every decision at dusk was a calculated structural investment in the probability of surviving until dawn, and whose final and most extraordinary legacy was not a monument, not a burial mound, not a cave painting, but something far more powerful and far more enduring, a fire that burned through the longest, coldest, most thermally hostile night ever recorded in the deep Pleistocene, a flame sustained by geometry, by fat-rendered fuel science, by permafrost thermal buffering, and by 9 decades of accumulated human intelligence concentrated into a single perfect act of survival engineering that would echo forward through 10,000 years of human history and quietly become the invisible foundation upon which every hearth, every furnace, every combustion engine, and every centrally heated home ever built by the human species would ultimately and unknowingly rest.